Well, my name is Candy Gibbs, and it is my honor to be able to share a little bit of my story with you today. I was raised in Amarillo, Texas, where my dad was a youth minister, and I grew up in a small Baptist church. I accepted Christ at a very young age. I don't remember not knowing about the Lord and really even feeling called, I think, to some sort of ministry. I was even the kind of kid that would take my Bible with me to the playground and witness to my friends, and a few of them accepted Christ right there underneath the monkey bars. But as I was growing up, I really was very shy and pretty insecure. And I started to notice that there was this group of kids, and if you could be one of them, life just seemed better. And they were the popular kids. And I think I made a decision pretty early on that I was willing to do just about anything to be one of them. So time continued on, and I got into high school. My situation wasn't changing much, and finally my junior year I decided I'm going to try out for cheerleader. And I did, and I say that. 10 girls tried out, only one girl didn't make it. So that says nothing about my athleticism at all. But it was definitely a time where I began to weigh the things that I had been raised to believe versus those things that I was now experiencing. And not long after that, there was a young man, and he was captain of the football team, class president, class favorite, you name it, and he was it. And he kind of decided that he liked me. And I thought, man, if I'd have known it was going to go this well, I'd have tried this a long time ago. And I went home to tell my parents, and they said, absolutely not, you won't be dating this guy. Well, being 17 and so much wiser than they were, I decided that we'd go ahead and date, and nobody had to know and nobody would get hurt. And not very long after that, the relationship became sexual. And at that point, everything changed for both of us. For him, now I was like other girls that he had dated, and he was ready to move on to the next. And then for me, I knew that sex was reserved for marriage, and I had not waited. And so in my mind, I felt like I had to stay with him no matter what, because at least then it would just be one. And so the relationship became very dysfunctional very quickly. Not long after that, it was the end of my senior year of high school, I missed a period. And I went to a pregnancy center in Amarillo. And I remember sitting there with a lady that I did not know by myself and finding out that I was pregnant. And she said, "What do you think you'll do?" And my response was, well, everyone is going to be completely shocked, but I know I won't have an abortion, because I come from a Christian family and we don't believe in that. And I went home to tell first Mr. Wonderful that I was pregnant, and his response was something like, "Gosh, really sorry about that. Didn't mean for that to happen. You can do whatever you want to do, but I'm out of it." And then it was time to tell my parents. And I'll tell you, this was many, many years ago, and I have shared this story many times. And every time I tell it, I can remember what it was like to stand in the driveway and tell my dad, not only have I been lying, sneaking around, dating this boy, but we've been having sex and I'm pregnant. And you know, it was a crisis in my family. And you don't have to have been through this crisis to understand what that feels like. But it's a flood of emotion. And we were afraid, and we were angry, and we were scared, and we were embarrassed. And if we make a decision at a crisis point like that, it is very rarely going to be a good one. So my dad, my youth minister dad, and I made the decision that what I needed to do was to have an abortion. And so we drove 2 hours from Amarillo, where I live, to have an abortion. And we walked out of that clinic very different people than we were when we walked in. We knew that abortion was wrong, but we justified it, believing that our circumstances were different. And it changed everyone. You know, emotions are not like a faucet where you can turn on the good ones and not the bad, but it's more like a light switch. They're either on or off. And many times women who have experienced an abortion, the pain of that is so much that we just flip the switch and we're numb and angry. And that's definitely where I was. It almost caused my parents to divorce, and I didn't think I was suicidal, but I was most certainly very hopeless. And a lady that I met at work gave me information about a Bible study for women who had had abortions. And I went to that Bible study not believing that it was going to make a difference, but I didn't know what else to do. And in the course of this study, I realized that I was not the only one that felt this way, that the way I felt was common for women who had experienced an abortion, that I could admit that that was a sinful choice, but that the Lord could forgive me, and maybe He could even still choose to use me. And the beautiful thing about the redemptive love of Christ is that no mess that you make is too much for Him. And in a way that only He can, He created a place for me to serve in the very crisis pregnancy center that I went to and visited to find out that I was pregnant. And now, 27 years later, I'm the director of the pregnancy center that meant so much to me as a young teenager. And I will tell you that nothing that you can possibly do can separate you from the love of Christ. And when we will turn to Him, He will use all of our past mistakes for His good and His glory. And it has been my privilege to be a part of the pro-life ministry over the past many years. And you know, no matter how many times I share this story, no matter how sorry I am, no matter how many conversations I've had with the Lord about it, I still never got to take my daughter to kindergarten and didn't teach her how to ride a bike or drive a car, and I won't ever see her be married. So in a sense, for me, it's late. But the beautiful thing is that tomorrow morning, there'll be another girl, and she will look a whole lot like I did. And it is not too late for her. And if you are in a position where you are considering abortion, and maybe you're in a very difficult circumstance, and you're pregnant, and you don't know what to do, I want you to know that abortion is not the easy answer that it's made out to be. Our society convinces us that abortion acts almost like an eraser, and it can take away this difficult circumstance that we're in, and we can just begin again. But the fact is, no matter what your circumstances are, if you're pregnant, you are the mom of that baby right now. And whatever you decide, no other children will ever take that child's place, and you will always be his or her mom. And I want to encourage you, there is help for you. There are places very near you that can supply resources and information and encouragement to you to enable you to make a positive choice for yourself and for your baby. And I beg you, please seek out lots of guidance and information before you make a decision that you can't undo. I am so thankful for the forgiveness and the redemption that the Lord has provided in my life. And there's not anything I wouldn't give to go back and make a different choice 27 years ago. Life is valuable and precious, and there is help and support for you.